Why is it that, after everything, you still feel this sense of emptiness? You did what they told you to do. You played by the rules. You stayed disciplined, responsible, and focused. You worked hard, stayed in line, built your career, and maybe even created a family. You earned the job, built the reputation, and got a sense of stability. You're not broke. You're not lost in chaos. You're not failing, at least not in any way people can see. From the outside, everything looks fine. You're doing what's expected of you, and yet something feels wrong. But deep down, behind your eyes, there's a heaviness. Not the kind that screams out loud, but the quiet kind that whispers. The kind you can't quite place. It's a disconnection you can't explain. An ache that sits in the middle of everything. It's like your life is technically fine, but your soul has been sleepwalking for years. You get through the day, ticking off the boxes of what needs to be done. You do what's required. You smile, but you don't feel it. The worst part, you can't tell anyone about it, because people will just call you ungrateful, weak, or say that you're overthinking it. So, you carry the weight silently, just like so many others do. But what if I told you that the weight you're carrying, that hollow feeling you can't explain, it's not just personal, it's systemic. It's part of something bigger than you. We were handed a story from childhood, a story that was subtle, repetitive, and echoed everywhere we looked. It said, if you work hard, stay in line, earn enough, perform well, you'll be happy. It was the promise we grew up with, and we believed it. Why wouldn't we? Everyone around us was running the same race, following the same rules. But here's the harsh truth, they never told you. The race was rigged, and the finish line, it keeps moving further away. Somewhere along the way, happiness became a product. Not a state of being, not a relationship, not a way of living, but a product. Something to be sold back to you. Through apps, through lifestyle brands, through podcasts that tell you to grind harder, manifest more, and choose positivity. They convinced you that happiness was a mood, something you could buy, schedule, or biohack your way into. But deep down, you know that's not true. Because if it were, you'd be happy by now, wouldn't you? So here's the real question. What's wrong with me? But what if that's not the right question? What if the real question is, what if they gave me the wrong map? Martin Seligman, one of the most respected psychologists of the last century, asked the same question. But he didn't ask it as a philosopher, not as a guru, he asked it as a scientist. Seligman was the former president of the American Psychological Association and the father of a field known as positive psychology. But don't let the name fool you. This isn't toxic positivity. This isn't about being grateful all the time, pretending everything is fine, or simply choosing to be happy. This is not about shortcuts to joy. Seligman didn't invent a quick fix to happiness. He exposed the real reasons so many of us feel stuck, empty, and quietly lost even when our lives seem perfect on the outside. At one point in his career, Seligman had everything that any man could want. Tenure, prestige, research grants, international respect. He had achieved what most people would envy. But in the middle of all that, he realized something terrifying. Achievement doesn't guarantee aliveness. You can be winning and life-earning accolades, climbing the ranks, filling your life with accomplishments and still feel like nothing is moving inside you. You could have a packed calendar, yet feel completely disconnected from your own life. You can cross every milestone, but feel nothing when you reach them. He was living proof that you can have everything on paper and still feel an emptiness in your soul. So Seligman went deeper. He started asking questions that most people avoid. Questions like, why do so many people feel numb, even when they aren't facing a crisis? Why does the most comfortable generation in history also have the highest rates of depression and suicide? Why does success feel so anticlimactic? And most importantly, what if the way we define happiness is the problem itself? This wasn't just about mood anymore, it was about meaning. It was about how the modern world conditions us to chase the wrong things and punishes us when we stop running. The system thrives when you're dissatisfied. It profits when you feel incomplete. Ad industries grow when you believe you're lacking. Self-help gurus get rich when you stay confused, constantly chasing the next fix, the next hack. And what does all this mean? It means that your unhappiness isn't a glitch. It's a feature. And that's where Seligman's work hits the nerve. He didn't just point fingers. He didn't just rant. He researched for decades, working with veterans, trauma survivors, CEOs, teenagers, and ordinary people. What he found was a complete dismantling of the idea that happiness comes from pleasure, comfort, or success. He didn't just talk about these things. He built a new framework from the ground up. What emerged was not a motivational slogan, but a system, a new model rooted in psychology, proven by data, and powerful enough to change how you live, if you're willing to face the truth. This video isn't about fixing you. You're not broken. It's about breaking the illusion that happiness is something you get at the end of a race, that meaning is a reward, that success is the same thing as fulfillment. It's not. And deep down, you already know that. You've felt it before, on the good days, when you hit the milestone, but there was no peace. On the quiet nights, when everything seems fine, but something still feels off. That feeling has a name, and that question you've been afraid to ask. Seligman already asked it. He studied it. He faced it head on. So now, the question becomes, if you're still unhappy, even after doing everything right, maybe it's time to stop blaming yourself. Maybe the system is broken. Maybe the story was false. Maybe the map was wrong.
At one point in his career, Seligman had everything a man could want. Tenure, prestige, research grants, international respect. He had checked all the boxes, everything that society tells us will bring happiness. He had succeeded by all outward measures. But in the middle of it all, he realized something terrifying. Achievement doesn't guarantee aliveness. You can be winning accolades, climbing the ranks, filling your life with accomplishments and still feel like nothing is moving inside you. You can have a packed calendar, yet feel completely disconnected from your own life. You can cross every milestone, but feel no true satisfaction when you reach it. That sense of fulfillment that you thought would come with success, it never arrived. Seligman was living proof that you can have everything on paper: professional success, public recognition, and still feel a deep, gnawing emptiness in your soul. And that realization led him to ask questions that would challenge everything we thought we knew about happiness. He started digging deeper, looking beyond the surface to understand why so many people, even those living what would seem like perfect lives, still felt lost. He began asking, why do so many people feel numb, even when they aren't in crisis? Why does the most comfortable generation in history also have the highest rates of depression and suicide? Why does success, something we're taught to chase, feel so anticlimactic when we finally achieve it? And perhaps the most important question of all, what if the way we define happiness is the real problem? What if, instead of being a reward or an outcome of success, happiness was something entirely different, something we've been taught to misunderstand our entire lives? This wasn't about mood anymore. It wasn't just about feeling good or bad. It was about meaning, the kind of meaning that gives life depth, the kind of meaning that nourishes the soul, the kind of meaning that modern society often overlooks in favor of productivity and achievement. Seligman's work revealed how the modern world conditions us to chase the wrong things. We are told that happiness comes from doing, from achieving, from accumulating. The system is designed to make us believe that if we keep running, we'll eventually get what we want: peace, fulfillment, happiness. But here's the shocking truth. The system thrives when you're dissatisfied. It's built to make you feel incomplete. The economy grows when you feel like you're not enough. Ad industries flourish when you believe you're lacking something. Self-help gurus profit when you're constantly searching for that next quick fix, that next hack to achieve happiness. They sell you the illusion that happiness can be bought, that it's something you can manifest, schedule, or biohack your way into. But deep down, you know that's not true. If it were, you'd be happy by now, wouldn't you? And that's the ugly truth. Your unhappiness is not a glitch. It's a feature. It's part of the system. The system is designed to make you believe that if you just work a little harder, grind a little longer, achieve a little more, you'll find happiness. But every time you reach a new milestone, the finish line moves further away. You don't get closer to fulfillment. You just get further entangled in a race that has no end. That's where Seligman's work hits the nerve. He didn't just point fingers at the system. He didn't rant or complain. He went deep, conducted research with veterans, trauma survivors, CEOs, teenagers, and ordinary people. And what he found was a complete dismantling of the idea that happiness comes from pleasure, comfort, or success. He wasn't selling empty promises. He wasn't offering a quick fix. What emerged from his research wasn't a slogan or a motivational catchphrase. It was a system, a framework based on psychology, proven by data that could change the way we live if we're willing to face the truth. Seligman didn't invent a magic shortcut to joy. What he gave us was the understanding that happiness is not a destination, but a structure, one that's built from the inside out, brick by brick, through intentional living, through deeper engagement with life. The path to real happiness isn't through accumulating more or achieving more. It's through rebuilding the very way we think about happiness. It's not about waiting for happiness to arrive once you've crossed the finish line. It's about understanding that true happiness is a process, an active, engaged process of creating meaning, connection, and fulfillment in your life, not as an end goal, but as an ongoing journey. This isn't about fixing you. You're not broken. It's about breaking the illusion that happiness is something to be attained once you've followed the prescribed formula. The idea that if you achieve, you'll find peace. The notion that success is the same thing as fulfillment, it's not. And deep down, you already know this. You've felt it on those days when everything is going well, when you hit the milestone, but still felt no peace. On those quiet nights when everything was fine, but something inside you still felt off, unsettled. That feeling has a name. It's the realization that the system you've been following might not have been the right one. It's the moment you start to question everything and wonder if maybe the map you were given was wrong all along. Seligman's work gives us the courage to ask that very question. If you've been following the path that was supposed to bring happiness and you still feel empty, maybe it's time to stop blaming yourself. Maybe the system is broken. Maybe the story you were told was false. Maybe the map was wrong.